Hi, I'm Amanda Riesenberg and I am the Stroke Prevention Wellness Coach for the Oneida Nation. And for this video today, we are going to work on some lower body stretches. So the stretch we're going to do right now is our hip stretch. So what we're going to do is we're going to stand one leg forward, one leg back. This back heel, we're going to pop that back heel up, and we're going to put our hands on our hips. Our front knee is nice and soft, nice and bent. And all we're going to do is we're going to take our tailbone and we're going to tuck our tailbone under our knees. And we're going to get that hip stretch right here. We're staying tall. We're not tucking in like this. We're not tucking and extending that back. We're just tucking under and everything's staying tall. Our abs are tight. And we want to hold these stretches for 20 to 30 seconds. No matter what stretch you do, and that's because it takes that long to have the muscles actually start to respond and be able to relax to what the stretch you're doing. So we're gonna come on up, and now we're gonna switch sides. So we're gonna reset ourselves. And if you do have balance problems, it's okay to widen out your stance. And you can still do that same heel pop and tail tuck with a wider stance. So you can do what works for you and what you're comfortable with. If you feel the need to be able to hold on to something, you can put your hand on a wall, you can grab a chair, you can grab your counter, whatever works for you, whatever you have around your house or have available to you. And let's come on out of that. So from here, our back heel is popped, and we're gonna take our tailbone here, and we're gonna tuck it under. And by doing that, you're gonna feel that stretch come right in the front of that hip. And notice how when I tucked under, I still kept really nice and tall. So this stretch is gonna be for your thigh, for your quadricep. And I'm gonna show you a couple of variations that you can actually do with this stretch. So one is you're just gonna grab your ankle and pull it in. Ideally, you want both knees to line up together and you wanna stay nice and tall. Now, if this is too much for you, what you can do is you can put your toes on a chair and get that same stretch. You might want to use a step, whatever works for you in terms of your flexibility. And what we do is we just put the toe on the chair, step, whatever you're using, and then if you need to, you can tuck your tailbone a little bit, or you can just adjust yourself so you can feel it right in the quad, because you do want to make sure you feel it in your quad, your big thigh muscle here, and not in your hip. Another option is you can use a chair on the side or a wall. So if you feel that your balance is a little bit off today, you can use something to help support you. So the next stretch we're going to do is for your hamstring. The hamstring is the back of the leg. And so for this one, we're gonna bring one foot out. Now we're gonna pull the toe off of the ground, okay? From here, we're gonna put both of our hands on this thigh, and that's gonna help support. You can do this, but you're gonna be less stable doing this than if you put your hand on here. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna sit your behind back here, and that toe is gonna automatically come up. And you're using your hands to support, but notice I'm keeping my chest lifted, I'm not doing this. Now, if you feel a little bit unstable, here's where you can use a chair to help support with that other hand. So, and you're still staying square in those hips. And remember also that when you stretch, you hold that stretch just to the point of tension. If your muscle starts to loosen up, feel free to go deeper. But if it's too much, back out of that stretch a little bit, because we don't want to pull a muscle and we don't want to hurt ourselves. So you just want to stretch it just to the point of tension. We're going to come on up, and then we're going to switch sides. So we're going to come here, and we're going to do that same thing here, but I'm going to show a modification on that, where we take our chair, we actually have a seat. And so on this side, so still the opposite side of what we just stretched, but we're gonna come here and toes up, our heels on the ground, and we're gonna take from our hips, we're just gonna lean forward. We're keeping our back nice and straight. Our knees are soft, and we're gonna get that stretch in the back of the hips. So this is a way to perform the exact same stretch, but sitting instead of standing. And once you hit your 20 to 30 seconds, you can come on out of it. So for this stretch is our calf stretch. So I'm next to a wall because I'm gonna actually use this wall to help support. So I'm gonna face the wall, one leg forward, one leg back. If you have a balance issue, remember you can widen out and still get the exact same stretch. And that'll help you feel a little bit more comfortable. So hands are straight out. They're straight out from your chest to your shoulder. Remember, we don't want to be up here, okay? We want to be straight out here. You know, fingers wide will give you a little bit more balance even and more support. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna put knee over ankle on this front foot. We're gonna make sure we keep that back knee nice and loose because we don't wanna overextend, but we're gonna push that heel, that back heel into the ground, and at the same time as you're pushing against the wall. So you have the counter forces to help stretch right back here. And this is one stretch where as you loosen up, as that back muscle loosens up, you might have to scoot that front foot forward so you can dig in a little bit deeper into the stretch. And then we'll come on out. And you keep your hands right where they are, and you can just switch your legs around. Okay, so make sure that knee is right over that ankle in the front here. And we're gonna press that back heel down. We're gonna press into the wall. Our shoulders are down. We're gonna be breathing the whole entire time. Remember, if you start to get a little bit wobbly, to just widen out and it's still the exact same stretch. And you just come right on out of it. We're gonna do the seated spinal twist. So we're seated in a chair. We're on the edges of the chair. So you can use a chair with handles or without. So if you have a kitchen chair, works too. This kind of chair works. Even if you have like a coffee table would work. Whatever you have around your house would work just fine. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna put knees over ankles. Our feet are gonna be flat on the floor. Now we're gonna take one hand, we're gonna bring it across your body to the outside of the opposite thigh. And from here, we're gonna rotate, we're gonna bring this free hand, we're gonna bring it behind us. You know, we can let it hang over the chair, we can grab the chair, we can put it on your hip. It's whatever works for you to kind of get it out of your way. And what we're doing is we're working on opening up that lower back. And what we want is, I don't want to see your leg do this. So as your hand pushes in, your leg is actually pushing out towards your hand, and that gets you a little bit deeper of a stretch. And then from here, we're gonna go ahead and release. We wanna reset your spine, so we wanna release right back to the middle. And then we're gonna go ahead and switch sides. So we're gonna bring the other hand to the other leg. We're gonna rotate and grab a hold, you know, set your arm down. Remember, shoulders stay down. And we're gonna hold this way for 20 to 30 seconds. We're breathing the whole entire time. Remember, hand is nice and big. We're pushing against that thigh, and that thigh is pushing back. And we'll go ahead and release that. The stretch that we're gonna do next is the figure 4 stretch. And we're gonna be seated doing this, and we're gonna extend one leg out. Now we do wanna make sure we keep a nice soft knee, and as we cross our leg over, we don't wanna cross it right on our knee. We wanna be below it, or we wanna be above the knee. And it depends on your range of motion and how flexible you are on that specific day. Okay, so this is a stretch that we want to pay attention to our body to make sure that we don't injure ourselves. So from here, so you're literally making a 4 out of your legs. And what you're gonna do is, if this isn't, if extending your leg out isn't enough, that's when you can bring your leg up too. So that's always an option. So what I would suggest is to start low and kind of see what works for you and where you feel comfortable for your stretch. So no matter your position, you're gonna grab that ankle unless it's like really low. So if you're here, you're just gonna make that 4 and you're gonna take your palm of the crossed leg and you're gonna press that leg out. And if you don't feel like that's good enough, then we can come here, you can come up. If you can reach your leg, then now you can grab it and still push that palm into that leg and press it down towards the ground, and you'll feel that back of that hip stretch. And we want to stay nice and tall. We don't want to lean to one side or the other. We want to stay perfectly centered underneath us. And as you start to loosen up, you just press a little bit more down. Now from here, we're gonna switch sides, and keep in mind one side can be completely different from the other side. So one side you might be able to come up here with, but the other side is so tight that you stay down here. And that's totally fine. And that's just when you listen to your body to see what you can and cannot do. And each day might be different. So we're gonna come here, take that palm, press that leg out, and this might be where you stay, and that's okay. As you loosen up, you can slowly come up the leg. You can grab it, come here. We're breathing, we're paying attention to how we feel. And this can be a stretch too, that all of a sudden it'll totally release, and that can be a good thing. So so if that happens, that's okay. You just come right on out of that. So our next stretch, it's not really a stretch, it's more just loosening up the ankles, because we're just gonna do some ankle circles. So you can do this seated or standing. So what we're gonna do is seated, you can point your toe on the ground, and you can just circle your ankle around, or you can grab your shin and pick it up, and you can circle that way. Whichever works good for you, whatever you're comfortable with. And you're gonna do 10, 12, 15 of those. And then you're gonna make sure you go the other way. Because your ankle goes in all different directions, so you wanna make sure you circle both ways and not just one way. It's very easy to get into the habit of just going one way and not realizing that you forgot to go both ways. So that's why I am showing doing one direction and then the other direction, then switching sides, so you won't forget to do both sides. The other option is you can stand. It's the same thing. You can point the toe on the ground, and you can just circle it around, or you can grab your ankle and circle it. If you like this better with balance as an issue, that's where you can use the wall. You can use a counter. You can use a chair to hold on to, so you feel a little bit more stable. And then we're gonna circle the other direction. No matter if you're sitting or standing, you're up nice and tall. And then we're gonna go ahead and release that down.